First blood in the Crucible. The Crucible was not meant for humans. It was an arena forged in the bones of a dead star, orbiting a black hole like a crown of fire. For over 3 centuries, the most powerful species of the galaxy had sent their champions here, not for politics, not for honor, but to prove who stood at the top of the food chain. The prize wasn't gold or power. It was fear. Fear earned the right to rule. And yet, standing now at the gates of the Crucible's obsidian ring, was Cadet Alexander Rains, age 19, 5'9", and woefully underqualified. No armor. No augments. Just a tight black flight suit, a battered tactical visor, and eyes that hadn't yet learned how to look afraid. The Zaltar delegation watched him from their private viewing spire, amused. One of them, a towering blue-scaled brute named Commander Zur, chuckled to his companion. "They send prey animals now," he muttered. Down in the staging tunnel, Alex adjusted the grip on his makeshift spear, fashioned from scavenged ship paneling and a plasma torch. His heart was thudding so loudly he wondered if the arena's sensors could pick it up. "Rains," came the voice of Colonel Ida Valen in his earpiece, sharp and bitter like black coffee. "This is still optional. You can back out. You've made your point." He smiled faintly, swallowing dry air. "Not yet, ma'am." The truth was, Earth's original champion had suffered a neural collapse just a day before the tournament. Sabotage, they said. No one would admit it aloud. No one wanted a diplomatic incident. The United Terran Embassy had offered a formal withdrawal. But Alex had volunteered. Not out of pride or glory. Not even to prove himself. Just because no one else had stepped forward. The gates hissed open. Bright light and roaring alien crowds flooded in. His opponent was already waiting at the center of the ring, a Varnathi Boneclaw, a four-armed insectoid from the sulfur moons of Trask, armored in chitin and reputation. Its claws dripped venom. Its eyes sparkled with hunger. The horn sounded. The Boneclaw lunged. Alex ducked low, rolled under a sweeping claw, and scrambled to his feet. He didn't try to match strength. He didn't even try to fight clean. Instead, he ran, led the creature on a chase through the uneven terrain of the arena's lava vent maze. He baited it into narrow paths. He threw sonic flares to disorient it. He used its bulk against it, slipping through gaps the Varnathi couldn't fit through. And then, when it was panting, snarling, scraping at walls, it stepped into the trap. Alex struck the hidden plasma plate he'd buried under loose ash. The explosion didn't kill the Boneclaw, but it tore off one leg, stunned it, and cracked its exoskeleton. Alex was on it a second later, jabbing the tip of his spear into the exposed neural ridge just beneath its mandible. One thrust. Through. It stopped moving. Silence fell. Then the Crucible roared. A rookie human had defeated a seasoned warrior. Without augments. Without enhancements. Without a chance in hell. Alex stepped back, chest heaving, face smeared with ash and blood, not all of it his own. He looked up at the stands, at the dozens of species watching. Not awe. Not admiration. Not yet. Just confusion. He limped toward the exit tunnel, where 2 med drones hovered, blinking in alarm. The voice in his ear returned, a little quieter this time. "Cadet Rains," Colonel Valen said slowly. "That was unexpected." He spat blood and wiped his mouth. "Tell Earth," he said, "we're still in the fight. Claws against steel." Alex didn't sleep that night. Not because of pain, though there was plenty, but because of the way they looked at him now. The Crucible Station's medical bay was sterile and silent, aside from the soft beeping of alien monitors and the occasional hiss of an auto-suture. Alex sat shirtless on the exam table, fresh bandages wrapping his torso where the Varnathi Boneclaw had raked him. His makeshift spear, scorched and bent, leaned against the wall like a relic. Across the galaxy, his face was already on a dozen noose nets. The human rookie who drew first blood. Analysts debated if his victory was a fluke. Military forums replayed footage, frame by frame, trying to understand how an unaugmented Terran cadet had defeated a predator 3 times his size. The name, Soft Fong, had begun to circulate on the Zaltar battle channels. Alex hated it. A hiss at the door. He turned. A creature slid into the room, slim, feline, her fur patterned in bioluminescent stripes. A Lyran medic, barely 5 feet tall, but with the same cold professionalism as a surgeon. She eyed him with cautious respect. "You are functional," she said in heavily accented standard. "Alive," Alex muttered. "Barely." She handed him a vial. "Hemoglobin booster. You lost more blood than most beings can afford." He took it, drank, grimaced. "Tastes like rotten soup." "That's because it is." She lingered at the door. "You have a next match." 6 hours. Alex froze. "Already?" "Your next opponent is a war beast from the Kelder broods. Genetically engineered. Machine bone. No thoughts, just rage." "Great," he said. "Everyone else gets champions. I get nightmares." She paused. "They think you're luck. A trick." He raised an eyebrow. "What do you think?" "I think you bleed," she said, eyes narrowing. "And that scares them." The second match was different. The first was survival. This one was a test. The Kelder war beast stood over 8 feet tall, a mechanical spine arching like a scorpion's tail from its back. It didn't roar. It didn't posture. It just charged. Alex barely got his shield up in time. An energy disk ripped from a broken Centauri drone. The impact knocked him backward into a stone wall, ribs screaming. The crowd wanted carnage. He could hear them, roars, clicks, trills, all unified in bloodlust. He gave them what they wanted. He moved fast, darted between the beast's feet, slashed at exposed wires with a blade made from crystallized carbon. Every step was calculated. He knew the layout of the arena by heart. He'd mapped it during recovery, studied grainy satellite scans, plotted trap points. But even with all of it, the beast was winning. Its speed, its size, its armor. It adapted. So did he. At the 6-minute mark, Alex led it into a kill zone, a corridor with magnetized flooring and overhead steam vents. He activated a discarded drone core with a kick. Its magnetic pulse pulled the beast's metal implant sideways, unbalancing it just long enough for Alex to leap onto its back and slam a detonation charge into the fusion port on its spine. It convulsed once, then twice, then dropped. The Crucible fell silent again. Not in confusion this time, but calculation. Later, in a private council chamber above the arena, Vorkresh the Devourer watched the replay in silence. The Zaltar warlord was massive, a silhouette of shifting muscle and horns, armored in ceremonial bone. Dozens of medals hung from his chest. He'd never yielded, never lost. Until now, no opponent had even survived him. He watched as the human, this soft Fong, stood over the second corpse, shoulders heaving, bloodied but alive. "Unaugmented," whispered his aide, a nervous Sindari tactician. "The sensors confirm it. His neurofeeds are erratic, wild. Primitive." Vorkresh grunted. "Not primitive, sir. Unpredictable." He turned from the screen. For the first time in 10 years, the apex beast of the Crucible felt something unfamiliar. Curiosity. Back in the holding cells, Alex sat alone, arms bandaged, fingers trembling slightly as he peeled back his gloves. His body was wrecked, but his eyes were sharper than ever. Colonel Vallen's voice came through his earpiece again. "That thing should have torn you in half." "It tried," Alex murmured. A pause. "You're halfway to the finals now," she said. "You know who's waiting at the top." "Vorkresh. He's watching you." Alex looked at the ceiling. "Good. Let him." The beast descends. The Crucible's final arena wasn't built, it was grown. Titanic stone roots curled out of molten rock, forming a web of unstable platforms, rising spires, and seething lava pits. It pulsed with heat and menace, as though the battlefield itself were alive and watching. The galaxy's most dangerous minds had designed it to give Vorkresh every advantage. And yet, standing at the threshold in his scorched flight suit, Alex Rains barely blinked. His hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but fatigue. 2 brutal victories had left him bruised, fractured, and stretched thin. A lesser fighter would have asked for an extension. A smarter one would have surrendered. But Alex had never been either. He stepped onto the arena floor to the sound of silence. No cheers. No roars. Only tension, thick and hot like the air before a storm. Across the lava river, a shadow moved. Vorkresh the Devourer emerged from a gate carved in obsidian, twice as tall as Alex, with jet-black scales that shimmered like oil. Horns spiraled from his brow. His body was armor and weapon fused, claws as long as swords, muscle like carved stone. Every movement was fluid, predatory. He didn't snarl. He didn't threaten. He studied Alex. Then he spoke, voice like grinding stone. "You bleed. You break. Yet here you stand." Alex met his gaze. "You bleed too. Just not yet." A pause. Then Vorkresh smiled. "Good." The gong rang. The arena lit up in bursts of flame and thunder. Alex ran. Not toward Vorkresh, but away. The beast gave chase, leaping with terrifying speed, each landing cracking the rock beneath him. Alex moved fast, ducking into narrow crevices, triggering smoke vents, laying distraction charges. It bought him seconds. Nothing more. Vorkresh was faster. Smarter than the others. He didn't charge blindly. He tracked. Alex felt the pressure building. Heat warping his vision. Muscles screaming. Every move had to be perfect. He lured Vorkresh toward the central pillar, a jagged spire with unstable gravity fields orbiting its core. Alex had hacked a beacon into the pillar's AI node the night before, rerouting its output. It created a false echo, an illusion of movement that danced and flickered behind him. Vorkresh struck it. The illusion shattered. The feedback pulse blinded him for 2 seconds. Alex struck with everything he had, his carbon blade, his last charge detonator, a brutal overhead strike aimed at the exposed joint under Vorkresh's left pauldron. The blast knocked both of them off the platform. They fell into the lower arena, where the heat was suffocating and the stone glowed red. Alex landed hard, rolled, came up limping. Vorkresh rose slower, dragging his claw through the ash, leaving molten lines. The fight changed. It wasn't a chase now. It was survival. Claw met shield. Fist met flesh. Alex ducked, dodged, stabbed. He carved small wounds, each one shallow but deliberate. He wasn't trying to win by force. He was probing. He found it after 5 minutes, the implanted neurotether along Vorkresh's spine, where his nervous system connected to his augmented reflex amplifier. It pulsed with alien code. Alex had a tool for that. From his belt, he yanked a neural feedback injector, a stolen Zaltar device, originally meant for pain modulation. He'd reprogrammed it to loop signals, overload them, create disorientation. One shot. He jammed it into the port, rolled away before Vorkresh could tear his arm off. The beast stumbled, twitched, stared at him. Alex was breathing fire by now, vision swimming. Vorkresh took a step forward, then stopped. The crowd gasped. "You could end it," Alex said hoarsely, raising his arms, exposed, bleeding. "You could tear me apart. But not before I do the same to you." Vorkresh stood still, chest heaving. "I'm not stronger than you," Alex continued. "I'm not faster. But I adapt. I learn. And next year, there'll be 10 more like me. Then 100. You won't survive the tide." Vorkresh stared at him for a long, silent moment. Then, in a single fluid motion, he dropped to one knee. The Crucible exploded into chaos. Dozens of species watching from across the stars cried out, some in fury, others in awe. Alex just stood there, drenched in sweat and blood, broken in more ways than he could count, and barely conscious. But still standing. Later, in the medbay, as drones patched his cracked ribs and fried nerves, the colonel's voice came through. "You did it," Valen whispered. "No," Alex replied, eyes half-lidded. "He did it." She was quiet for a moment. "Why?" Alex exhaled, a breath he'd been holding all day. "Because he saw what's coming." The roar that echoed back. The Crucible never echoed with silence for long. By dawn cycle, 100 broadcasts spun the same image across the stars. Vorkresh the Devourer bowed on one knee, his claw resting in the ash, and before him, bloodied, swaying, but unbroken, Alex Raines, Terran rookie, standing like a dagger in the dirt. Some called it shame. Others called it strategy. But for the first time in its long and brutal history, the Crucible had witnessed yield. Not death. Not domination. Yield. The galaxy reeled. Alex was moved from the medical ward to a secure Earth diplomatic suite high above the arena. No windows. Just filtered light, a soft hum of recycled air, and 2 silent Terran Marines posted outside. He sat on the edge of his cot, arms bandaged, chest wrapped tight, and stared at the floor. "Still feels like a dream," he muttered. Colonel Valen entered, her gray uniform crisp, but eyes shadowed with the weight of political fallout. "It's not," she said. "And the galaxy won't forget it." She handed him a data slab. Dozens of messages scrolled past in alien scripts and multilingual translations. Some were threats. Some were treaties. But most were simply watching. "What happens now?" he asked. Valen folded her arms. "Earth just went from curiosity to contender. We've received 5 envoy requests from major systems. 2 threatened sanctions. 1 offered you a contract to train their gladiators." Alex snorted. "Should have asked for royalties." She didn't smile. "You changed something," she said. "And not just in the Crucible. Vorkresh wasn't just their champion. He was their symbol. You didn't beat him with strength. You beat him with mind. With improvisation. Risk. Creativity." He looked up at her, expression tight. "Is that why he yielded?" She nodded slowly. "I believe so. You fought like a predator that thinks 10 moves ahead. That scared him more than brute force ever could." Alex leaned back, the cot creaking under him. "What happens to him now?" Valen hesitated. "Some want him stripped of rank. Others say his act was one of ultimate honor, that recognizing the rise of a new predator is the truest form of dominance. His people are split." Alex felt a twist of guilt in his gut. He hadn't meant to start a cultural war. But maybe it was overdue. Hours later, the door chimed. A visitor. Alex sat up, surprised to see the Lyran medic, the same one who had treated him after his first match. She stood silently, cradling a small box wrapped in silver mesh. "No scans. No weapons," she said, offering it forward. Alex opened the lid slowly. Inside was a claw. Black, curved, the size of a dagger. Burnished. Cleaned. "I don't understand," he said. She looked him in the eye. "He sent it. Vorkresh. A gift. A message," she said. "To remind you who you are. And who you might become." He traced the edge of the claw with one finger. It was sharp, but not threatening. A fragment of something ancient, now passed to someone new. The Crucible tournament was officially ended 2 cycles early. There would be no more matches this year. Too much uncertainty. Too much fear. Alex stood at the edge of the Earth delegation's docking bay, preparing to board a diplomatic cruiser bound for the Sol system. His gear had been packed. His body still ached. But his mind was racing. He wasn't just returning home. He was returning as a symbol. Not of human superiority, but of human potential. As the stars lit up the sky above the Crucible station, Alex paused and looked back one last time. He didn't see a battlefield. He saw a threshold. Across the galaxy, hidden in the volcanic caves of Dravik Prime, Vorkresh stood alone. He watched the final footage one last time. The humans' last words. The stance. The refusal to break. He didn't regret yielding. In that moment, he had glimpsed the future. And in it, humans weren't prey. They were rivals. He turned away from the screen and began training again, not for redemption, but for evolution. If they were coming, he would meet them. And next time, the outcome would not be left to surprise.